see how this night's going to go.
I would agree. I really would agree. And I think that, to be honest, Parabellum probably know this because they know that they didn't play fantastically on Chalet yesterday. They know that SSG are going to be prepared for this. Everything really rides on this first map being very important. Something that we've seen a very common trend here in the North American Games demo has been that Flores ban. I would be fairly shocked if Parabellum don't draw for it here now. They are really teasing us with it and making us wait right down to the final second. It's actually going to be the Ying. Demo, no one can see me right now, but I am pulling my really shocked face.
No, you're not. You're not shocked. How can you be shocked at a Ying?
Because we've seen Flores banned as like a mainstay.
Yes, but you also have to remember that what was an operator that worked really well for SSG and Cafe before that we've seen them play?
The Ying did work well. I will give you that. Mirror, going to be removed as well. And Azami comes out as the final ban. Okay. Both of these teams clearly doing a little bit of homework here.
See some targets. I think that's certainly clear to see. SSG will actually, I think, be really happy to see Kaid on the board. We kind of looked at SSG and we've said that they've played quite default in terms of their strategies in Cafe Oli. They haven't really flexed anything too strong on us. I'm primarily talking about their upstairs hold where they fully reinforce freezer walls and fully reinforce bathroom. They play that kind of anchor position that we don't see all too often, and then they bring in the Kaid. You can't get the Kaid claws off because Thatcher's banned. That's going to favor SSG, I think, in this opening half. Instead of going upstairs, which is where they've went most times, they're going to be starting off downstairs, though, in the kitchen.
A little bit of a strange first choice site, granted. We'll have to see how SSG choose to make this one work.
10 seconds remaining.
I guess most sites are fairly defensible on Cafe. The top floor, you know, whilst it is seen as a favoured pick for attackers, depending on what they're expecting, it can be a little bit of a hard time.
I mean, what maps like don't have all 4 bomb sites, you know, defendable? What maps is there that you would say, oh no, you can't really defend a site on that map?
I think it's certainly changed, hasn't it? Because there would be a time where you would be able to list half a dozen.
Probably living room and villa. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Opening pick.
First pick.
Penguin just straight in. On that Flores.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
Never a great sign if Bosco's getting taken out early, is it?
Yeah, I don't know what's happened there. Looks as if Penguin just walked in Bakery and just shot him. That's what it looked like. And they got the kill and they're gone. They're out. So Parabellum, they found a pick. They're happy with that, and now they can actually start off and look at where they want to go now. Looks to be maybe trying to clear out the roamers upstairs. Ollie, we see that extension from SSG. No surprise to see them go for it. SSG are happy enough to really play their lives if they need to, but like we know SSG, Ollie, if they waste enough time, they'll go back to site as quickly as they can. But I think FG need to waste another minute or so before they start thinking about that. Parabellum, of course, that first pick, it gives them that extra man who they can rotate around, and I'm sure it's probably going to be Blaz in this scenario. Just let him off the leash, Ollie, let him go and do what he wants to do, but maybe it's Gunner instead who's off the leash, as he finds Rampy. A freebie of a kill. Rampy had no idea that somebody could have been in the front door. There's 2 picks, Ollie, that it seems a bit weird from SSG.
Yeah, SSG certainly giving away a couple of soft kills there. They will find one back onto Blaz. Esker is going to be making his way down red. Just gets caught out in one of the lingering goo mines from Rampy. There isn't going to be too much here to concern them, but there's a lot of soft destruction now to start doing, and that's going to be Esker's job. Needs to rip open a lot of that floor. Fultz does manage to get the trade back onto Esker. Really caught mid-animation there. Kool-Aid is there for the 1-for-1 trade, but it still means that there's a lot of jobs that haven't been done. Hatch being opened into Freezer is going to be a bit of a saving grace here, but Gunner is going to get swung by Skies. The Valkyrie camera is providing that all-important information. Kool-Aid, he's right in the sight. Skies knows exactly where he is as well. A quick hop over from Penguin is going to credit him with 1 kill, and now he's left in the 1-versus-1, but he's got no intel. Doesn't know where Skies is playing, catches him prone and finishes him off. Skies. A lack of info from both sides there. Penguin happy to tank up that Goyo shield damage 3 times there inside of that round, and it rewarded him.
Oh, Penguin kicked things off. 3 kills in the round, and he really had to make it work for himself, Ollie. I mean, what can you say? Just has to push in, has to go for the kills. I mean, he still had 30 seconds, but he had the adrenaline behind him, didn't he, Ollie? He felt as if he could take on anything. And it worked. Pushes in, finds skies. SSG dropped the ball in the first round. It was weird. It looked as if they gave away 2 picks just in weird shape. You seen Bosco, somebody just walked in the bakery, shot him. And then I think it was Rampy, wasn't it, on the Legion, who was walking backwards in the coat, not knowing somebody was at the front door. Just a weird couple of kills.
It was a little bit strange because we didn't exactly get to see that opener from Penguin. I'm not sure if it was just sheer unluck from Bosco that caused him to get taken out there, or if he really was in the wrong place at the wrong time and kind of just caught in no man's land. Regardless, I don't think the SSG are going to be too concerned. One thing they're not going to do, though, is give them another attempt downstairs. Instead, they're going to be going for dining, fireplace, and wheel room, train. This top floor hold going to come through. I feel like the Valkyrie cameras worked really well there for SSG. They had a lot of information, and Sky's picked up 2 great kills off the back of it. Not choosing to bring it this round. Instead, they've got a bulletproof on Bosco to try and gather a little bit of that info.
Strange to see that SSG are not going to go upstairs towards that top floor bomb site. Instead, going for the train museum. Usually out of all the bomb sites, this is the least played. So SSG just really not going with the standard formula you would expect. But I mean, still defendable like we mentioned before in Cafe. All 4 bomb sites are certainly achievable from the defense. Gunner straight in, off the back of some drone work. See, cigar shop is shut, but there is a lot of utility upstairs from SSG, and also a lot of bodies, Ollie. 1 man inside a pixel will be droned out, and Gunner now walks straight into a crossfire. A couple of question marks there from Gunner. You're moving into piano. You should be aware that nearly every wall could be opened up and an angle could be held onto you.
You got to treat it like you're attacking the top floor. You know that there's going to be players in those familiar
him?
positions.
There was drones. You should definitely be telling your entry. Whenever you move into piano, as an entry, it is one of the scariest rooms in Cafe because there's about 20 different angles. And if the drone work isn't good, you'll get picked off. Whoever's droning should be telling him, bathroom wall is open, they have a shield. Why is that not being fed to him? It might have, and then that's just bad on Gunner, but we don't know. But either way, there's been a misplay.
Blaz going to get caught out in the razor bloom here. It's going to give the intel over to Skies. The plant is going down, though. Kool-Aid, how are you getting away with this? Kills continuing to fly. He gets taken off at the last possible second. Esker, not in position to cover. We can see the diffuser cold on the ground. We can see the intention there. Get the plant down and hold it from the window. But SSG, they clear shot. Fultz manages to hit a rotation underneath Red Hatch. Knows exactly where Esker's going to be. Sloppy round there from Parabellum. It looked like they were trying to run before they could walk.
Yeah, they were doing a lot of things at the incorrect timings with very little information to play off. So it all starts with Gunner moving in as that entry, was looking to gain control of piano. It seemed as if Parabellum seen all of that utility upstairs and just thought, you know what, we can't be bothered. That's what it felt a little bit lazy with how they played that round. You cannot just try and plant like that if you don't have that upstairs control. There's a hatch that will allow defenders to flood back in. They can open up angles above where the diffuser gets planted inside a train. You need to take piano. That is a crucial bullet point in the checklist of how you attack that bomb site. Very, very surprising. I think they also tried to play off Blaz. Blaz tried to make a play. To be fair, Blaz kills that man inside a train. Different round entirely. Entirely different round. But because he didn't win as one, it was going to be a lockout. Even if it was a 5v3, it doesn't matter. Parabellum jumped the gun. They relied so heavily on Blaz. They then just tried to go for a plant. If Blaz is not there in that position to cover all those crosses inside a train, they can just get swung from so many different angles. And that's what happened to them.
Yeah, when the round hinges off one player winning a 1 versus 1, it's never ideal. Still, leveled out, 1 round apiece here. We're going to see SSG make that rotation to the top floor. site we've been kind of desperate to see up until this point. We were expecting it to be one of the first choice sites. Now, for all the talk about the Flores and all the fact that, you know, Flores has been regularly banned, it was banned yesterday quite a bit by Parabellum. It's been banned, it's been regularly used by SSG and banned against them if not. We're not actually going to see it here. And this is probably one of, if not the best site on Cafe to bring a Flores because you've got so much to try and deal with. Castle barricades, laser gates from Aruni, you got magnets from Wamai. Instead, what you're going to do, you're going to send Penguin dropping into New Hatch on the Nook, trying to find himself a cheap one. He is in the lion's den here, Demo. Crouching through Longbar. He knows there's going to be someone on the other side of the reinforcement, but he doesn't know much else. Freezer looks very unknown. He seems cautious to make a move. He's just trying to tuck himself in under the bar here. Rampy, equally unaware that somebody is literally 5 feet away from him. Very tricky position here for Penguin. He's going to find himself one onto Rampy. Rampy is just going to be confused as to how that has been let to happen. We've got Bosco. He's going to be holding an angle there from the top of White. Instead, it's going to be Hot and Cold that swings on from the freezer. SSG managed to grab that one back. Blaz just narrowly misses out on a bit of damage into the player in Washroom. Instead, he's going to hit the repel. Try and take this a little bit more head on.
Feels as if Parabellum could have capitalized off that if they picked up the pace. Just a tad. Blaz has found a good shot though on the Bosco and has that LMG. Should be an easy pre-fire, but no, Hot and Cold finds him instead. Surely Blaz should have known that somebody's going to be in that pixel position. Eska's actually rotated towards the east side of the map. A great shot from Kool-Aid, but he will be downed in the process. Guys, sees the last man, whiffs the SMG magazine, goes for a second, also whiffs that one, but gets him on the third swing. Oh, Skies, it wasn't the cleanest, but hey, he gets over the finish line.
Doesn't matter how clean it is, sometimes you've just got to get the job done. Sky's salvaging that round there. Again, very scrappy from Parabellum. This is kind of unlike anything we've seen them play so far in this competition. They haven't been that team that's been extremely aggressive. They've had nice tempered aggression, and we've seen them contest for opening engagements. We've seen them happy to get in there and play aggressive on the entry. But in terms of crouch walking somebody into Longbar, you're just putting him on an island. You're giving him a death wish because there's, yeah, you might get one kill, but you are more than likely going to be traded straight away, especially by a team like SSG. Rampy dies there. It's an easy call out.
It just seems a bit lost, doesn't it, Ollie? It's as if they've dropped that man with a compass in the wilderness with a pack of wolves around him and say good luck.
Some sort of desert island survival.
Survival island.
My desert island operator would not be Nook.
This, I don't know if you ever you were there, of course, at SI22. Did you see the great game show that was held?
I didn't hear about it. Yeah,
that was a
I
question.
may have had front row seats.
That was a question, Ollie. What gadget would you want on a desert island?
I don't think that it would be Nook's ability. I don't think that there's going to be many cameras on a desert island. I'll be honest.
It wasn't in the top 6 answers. No, it wasn't.
No,
it wasn't there. That was good fun. I hope people enjoyed that day. That was good. That was good. Just me spouting a lot of waffle, and then giving Jacob negative points because he was whining constantly.
We'll have to ask those two if they remember.
A wedding?
It seems as though SSG are back up to their old tricks as well with these opening kills with the C4.
It's a good kill as well onto Lion, and we know that with Parabellum in their lineup, they're going to be looking for that tempered aggression and having that information. It's good stuff to have. Of course, Blaz and the Jackal also, Ollie's going to help them out. And there will be the first red ping. See somebody inside a train. But they need to try and play off this information, Ollie. Sure, it's good bringing the Jackal, but if you're only going to use it as, you know, it's like a drone, what's the point? You want to be using that active information to be hunting this guy.
Ideally, yes. Jackal's value comes at many points throughout the round, but the large point of value comes at the beginning and in the early round when you can, you know, track those footprints and start to try and gather a little bit of a picture. Gunner, again, just seems wildly out of position. I think he knows there's going to be somebody here, but doesn't know exactly which side of the room they are going to be on. Kool-Aid, he's going to see to it. Takes Hot and Cold down. Eska It's almost Esker's trademark position on the red stairs. You just see him there every single round, and we catch him opening up this angle pretty much every time there with the sledgehammer.
It just plays that flank watch position. You know, you look at Parabellum not bringing the Nomad or a Gridlock into the lineup, so you have to basically force yourself into sitting these staircases now, because we know that Cafe, especially for the kitchen, is very easy to rotate up. I think Parabellum, they've shown that whenever they defend this bomb site, always how good they can be on the retakes whenever they have all of those staircases available to them. So in Parabellum, of course, they're going to know that, so you have to try and lock yourself into that. Blaz has the smokes, which is going to be handy, as we know, Ollie, to maybe block off an angle or two. There goes the smoke. Burning also in towards that VIP area. There is a Toxic Babe, and Coolidge is going to take the plunge into Freezer now, Ollie. 20 seconds to go. What are Parabellum thinking with this play?
No hot pockets this time for them to worry about. Just the gunpowder of SSG, but that is diminishing by the second. It's going to be Skies left in the clutch. Finds himself 2. 8 seconds left. He's going to try and play aggressively onto this. The diffuser has been recovered. Can he find a third? Gunner in position to shut him down. Just swings on the side of the bomb chassis. The LMG might not be the fastest fire rate weapon, but it's certainly handy to have in that spot. Parabellum getting one over the line. You look at the time there, and you just really got to back Skies to be able to just hold them off for another 4, 5 seconds. Real down to the wire stuff.
I think Parabellum's done really well to pull that back, considering that they lost the opening death. Coming back from a 4v5 of that extension from SSG. It did seem as if SSG, they had some people who ran away immediately. Just dropped the hatch straight off the rip. Then they had some people still linger. Yeah, I feel as if you're going for the room game, you either fully, you know, everyone there, they fully commit where you just trade and you die, or everyone falls. Because you just can't be leaving one player by himself against 4.
No, it needs to be all or nothing, doesn't it? You either stick on the roam together or you drop off together after it doesn't work. You can. There are instances where leaving one person behind will be beneficial, but particularly on Cafe, the roam it's only as strong as the player standing next to you. You know, you need those crossfires, because with the crossfires you can hold a lot of that top floor. Without it, it does become quite easy to get cornered, especially when you start bringing things like Jackal into the mix. Still not a great deal separating these two. We could be about to see a similar Cafe to the first time that we saw these two play here in the competition. It was a overtime game. Parabellum managed to scrape it at the end.
Let's keep in mind that the defense is certainly favored on Cafe, Ollie, so the more rounds Parabellum can get, the easier it's going to be for them whenever they have that side switch. In goes the Flores. Opens up that top red wall. Hasn't been reinforced by SSG, which is a bit surprising. Usually that's the kind of go-to, is if you're extending towards top floor, reinforce those top red walls. It just wastes some utility, wastes a bit of time. But maybe if they want to put the utility elsewhere, then by all means. Oh, shotgun blow. Maybe a C4 up through Cigar Shop. I think Blaz is aware of that and actually backs away for the meantime.
Kool-Aid credits himself with an opener. Takes down Fultz on the Wamai. This top floor hold is starting to fall off a little bit, especially with Gunner causing a ruckus downstairs, and Reading picks himself up. 2-3 great kills! SSG, they are just presenting themselves on a plate here for Parabellum. Skies again, left in the clutches. This time 1 versus 5. Whole minute left on the clock. There's not a great deal of hope here. Gets a glimpse, tries to catch a player on the cross, but can't even manage that. Cover from the hatch, cover from inside of train. It's always going to be a tough task. A flawless there for Parabellum.
Dominant, but like you said, Ollie, SSG just giving himself up a few times there. It's as if that, you know, it just feels as though the SSG, they're forcing some of these kills. Like they're trying to force these engagements. I think during those early stages more than anything. It's not the same kind of strict SSG that we know where they will just sit 5 people in a corner and just play those extreme crossfires. We're not seeing that today so far. Look at Bosco. Look at Rampy.
It's not often that you can turn around and say, you know, look at Bosco, look at Rampy, and they're sat there 0, 5, 1, and 4. Very hit or miss tonight. Fortunately for them, they've got a map advantage in this best of 5, and there's plenty of siege to get around. But you don't want to be dropping the first map and almost have it end up being a glorified warm-up scrim because things just haven't gone your way and you've never really woken up. And start righting those wrongs as soon as possible. You mentioned, Demo, that Cafe regularly seen as defender-sided. It's one of the few maps where you've got to spend 30, 40 seconds to actually get onto the roof, to get into a position to be able to think about entering on in. There's just so much more to do as an attacker when you compare it to other maps.
It's a tricky map to attack. It's personal hell, I feel, as if you're an entry. Especially whenever you look at the top floor. Entering in towards Piano, I mentioned it before previously, it's so difficult. So many different angles you have to be aware of. I also think it's quite tricky to get any real utility value just because of the sheer amount of operators that get chosen to deny. You know, you look at SSG, they've got the triple threat. You have the Wamai, the Jaeger, and the Yaruni. All 3 of those are going to be great at soaking up flashbangs, grenades, and whenever, you know, as an entry, of course, you're there to get the kills with an LMG or the Ana, whatever gun you're using, but also nade kills are going to be an important thing for entries.
No entries this time for Parabellum. The Aruni from Glaz didn't work out as planned. He got shut down by Rampy after he'd entered in, and we actually saw Kool-Aid fall to a Razor Bloom there.
No hard breach now, which is an issue.
It's going to be very difficult from here on out. The diffuser going to be cold. There is going to be a line of sight and an entry point in through to Piano. But for the meantime, Penguin isn't going to opt to use it. Bringing the Flores this time to try and burn through a lot of that utility. The saving grace at this point for Parabellum is that there is still time. You can look to deal with this shield on Pixel. Get that done. Gunner still dueling, trying to find himself that pick onto the player in Washroom now. With the shield gone from Pixel, you've got no real choice but to move on back. Penguin does manage to relocate the player that was inside of Freezer. And Gunner, he's pushed on through. Finds himself one, cautious of the hatch below. Needs to ideally join up with his teammate here. Penguin with some aggression finds himself one, but look at where the diffuser has been left now. It is clearly in no man's land, and SSG are going to be fully aware of that. Looks at Babes dissipate now as a nade does go through. Hot and Cold takes a good chunk of damage. Esker and Gunner got to play this one relatively quickly. Hot and Cold still getting chunked down by those nades that are getting sent through, but SSG are not for moving. They've got crossfires and they are going to use them. Fultz and Rampy going to pick up those final 2. Tucked in behind those cocktail bars. They knew that they didn't have to move for anything. Still a bit of info knocking around at the end. And we end at an equal split.
Much better from SSG. Opening picks was good, and then I think we've seen the SSG that we wanted to see, Ollie. We're all 5 and they'll sit on site. They'll be as patient as they can be. Penguin has made some great pushes, hasn't he, Ollie? The confidence that he's had is been really strong.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Still wasn't good enough, though, in that round. Still was not there. Esket and Blaz struggling. You know, we've talked about SSG. Bosco had a horrible half, Ollie. 0-6. Oh, dear. So there's been strong players on either side, we can see that, but also not so strong players on either side also.
And they're players that we usually look toward to do a job. You know, we were really giving it the other night about how much clutch potential Bosco has, and when he's left in that situation, there's not many other people that you would want to rely on to clutch it out. You know, you think of just the sheer consistency that Bosco has in a clutch, and now seeing, you know, 0-6, not really activated. He's been doing a supporting role, but you know, that's 6 gunfights potentially that he's lost there. See, you've got to, you know, question it at some point, especially when a lot of those rounds really didn't go in SSG's favor. Obviously, you flip that around and you look toward Esker. Very quiet. Blaz, equally quite quiet. I think we're still yet to see, Demo, a day or a game where both Blaz and Gunnar show up in the same map. Because typically they'll either alternate it. One of them will have a good half. One of them will have a mediocre half. Obviously, the new pickups, we're not expecting, 100% synergy. But we know what they're capable of.
We certainly do. I think last time we seen Parabellum go up against SSG, Gunnar just came alive in the defense, didn't he, Ollie? He was hitting every nail on the head. Well, every bullet in the head, I suppose you'd probably say, instead of the nail. But yeah, he was really strong in the defense. Not so much in the attack, but to be fair, today the attacks has been good from Gunnar. 7-4 is a very respectable, I think, entry stat for the entry on Cafe. I've talked about how difficult it can be to attack it. We'll see how he deals with defending it now. There's a Valkyrie up and alive, but Fultz has the IQ in the back pocket. Love to see the IQ coming in here, Ollie. I've mentioned how strong Valkyrie can be. Gunnar, the confidence. He gets to him, Ollie. Gives himself up. And Skies will add an opening kill to his tally.
Punished. Skies has done a lot of work there as well. Not only did he remove the Valkyrie camera, he got rid of the shield on Pixel as well, and picked himself up an opener. All of that in very, very good time. SSG can't afford to relax too much now. They've still got a lot to do, but Fultz is going to make it even a little bit easier. Finds one onto Esker. The IQ pick, it's not something that we saw Parabellum really go for, despite the Valkyrie being run in a couple of rounds by SSG. It's just providing so much value here. Bosco needs to get himself out of harm's way as the Toxic Babe canister will come in. Kool-Aid going to be the next player found as down as Rampy preps himself to hop in to White Corridor there. Bosco, he's deep, he's on long bar. He's pushing through aggressively. Blaz, he's found a little bit of success, shutting Rampy down. Second for Penguin. It's now a 2 versus 2. Kool-Aid still down. Effective 2 versus 1. Do SSG know that? Fultz and Skies. They're nicely grouped here, but the diffuser is going to be cold. Blaz finds himself a good portion of damage and a down, but it's not going to be enough. Hot and Cold is there on the cover, able to secure that final frag.
Yeah, SSG being able to stack up in that 1v2. Blaz, he was ready for one, but was not ready for the second. The lack of information, Ollie, and that's because the information from the IQ was able to pick apart all those Valkyrie cameras. It was so important. I mentioned about IQ. Bang, bang, bang. You can see all that information right off the get-go. And whenever I think you go into it with the Valkyrie pick, you're not going to be picking up the bulletproofs. You're going to be looking at it and think, okay, we have information, we have the Valkyrie. As soon as those cameras get caught out, you're blind. You're absolutely blind because you're not bringing any extra information because you think the Valk cams, that'll do us. That's all we need.
It can quite often be a bit of a double-edged sword as well, because the majority of spots that you're going to place a Valkyrie camera can be spotted out by an IQ on the roof.
Yeah.
And all IQ has to do is Z-ping that, and it's going to give a more accurate location as to where that piece of utility is. So it does become quite straightforward to deal with there.
Yes, see if they can keep things rolling. But yeah, Parabellum just a little bit too reliant on the Valk cams. We need to look for another option. If those Valk cams get caught out because IQ's being brought, you need to do something against that. It's very similar, Ollie. What would happen to a lot of people if, Ollie, let's say for example, what would you do if your power just went out? You couldn't cope, could you? You couldn't cope.
Oh, why not?
You just couldn't. A lot of people, I think, if the power goes out, you're done. You're so reliant on something.
An emergency power's gone out bag.
My dad has a generator. That helps.
Mine's full of candles and
at least we get the kettle on. Hard games.
I've got a gas stove demo.
I forgot you grew up in the 1950s. Power didn't exist back in the day.
Not sure if Kool-Aid was trying a little bit too hard on an opening kill there, or if we just saw some serious luck from Fultz on a pre-fire.
Kills a kill.
But a kill is a kill. It doesn't really matter how it came about. All that really matters is SSG have a nice buffer going into this one. Rampy on the entry. Drones working at his feet.
This is where he's scary, isn't it? This is where Rampy can really just unleash everything that he can do, Ollie. We know how strong he is in that Finka. Nade gets tossed in. looking for the shield, but like I mentioned before, Ollie, on this piano entry, you need to be so careful. You need to be so careful. Because if you look the wrong way, if you get the wrong 50-50, you've costed your team an entry.
We could see the drones really working overtime to check every single corner. Blaz is going to find himself one back. That initial advantage neutralized now. Still not going to be of too much concern here. Around a minute left, and SSG, while they are yet to significantly commit here to the site, they are doing a good job of taking this top floor control slowly but surely. Still going to have a bit of utility to deal with though later on. Main thing that we're going to be looking toward there is of course going to be the C4 in the hands of Gunner. 3 toxic babes in the hands of Blaz. If, of course, he lasts that long, he's only on a shred. Could very easily be taken out by a stray bullet here or there. Bosco, going to be clearing out the kitchen. Could be going for a little bit of an up the hatch there. He's obviously on the Amaru, so has that potential. Still, that hatch will need to be open for him to be able to do that.
You can hear the Amari straight up in. Yep, there it is. And now SSG looking to get the plant down, Ollie. Parabellum have been caught out by this pocket strategy from SSG. It's worked so well for them. Now we're into the post plant. Parabellum have to try and claw back something, but it's only Blaz. And look where he is, Ollie. He's just stuck in the middle of it. Doesn't know what to do. And Bosco puts him out of his misery. Nice, Bosco. Very nice. Look, he's got the attack, Ollie. He's woken up. He's here. He's ready to go.
Well, there's something that he can do here that's really valuable, and that's get the diffuser down. If you're getting picked off, you can't unfortunately do that as a defender. You can't disable that diffuser from the grave. Great little play there from SSG, just taking what they need. I think potentially going up through the hatch was a little bit extravagant. You could have easily gone in through the window and achieved a very similar result. You just got to get a body inside of the bomb site. But it worked out nonetheless, and it's always nice to see Amaru used in that way. It's not every day you get to see Amaru up through the hatch from inside. Typically, you're trying to fly in through a window and get an early advantage, or a bit of a rush, get yourself to the roof quicker, whatever it might be. So nice to see those different use cases from time to time.
SSG looking very dominant on the attacks, only 2 in a row. Need something here from Parabellum to get themselves back in it, because you don't want to be sat there with a 6-3 SSG, then they have a nice buffer there where they can start controlling the pace of the game. And obviously, you know, whenever you're 6-3 down, if you're Parabellum, you're going to start to be desperate. You're going to start to be desperate. And sometimes it works for you, but I think a lot of the time, whenever we see teams in those desperation moments, it actually hinders their gameplay more than anything, because they start doing things that aren't the norm, and things that, if an attacker has any form of common sense, they're going to punish you.
Yeah, it's that it comes down to the old trying too hard. You know, you're forcing a player, you're trying to make something where you're putting a round peg in a square hole.
Yeah. It'll come to you. That's just it. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
The early lion scan there, you can only think that that's an attempt to stop any sort of...
Stop people jumping out.
Yeah. Parabellum have really been known for that. And we've seen them suffer opening deaths to spawn peaks quite often.
Yeah.
On the
I just find it risky.
Here.
I find it risky that they're going for the window repels with no nomad, knowing that Blaz is on the other team. I think that's mental. I do.
You're just projecting, though. I think you're just projecting your own fear.
Maybe I am. To be fair, this is one of the games where you wouldn't really be scared of Blaz because he's 3 and 7. Because we know Blaz, it's either go big or go home a lot of the time. That's what we're seeing from Blaz so far in this tournament.
It definitely has been. And like we said, it's almost been swapped between Blaz and Gunner, and one of them will have a pop-off half and the other one will be fairly quiet.
Yeah. You get
Gunner
the
had a great attack. Yeah, I mean, Gunner had a great attack, didn't he? But then Blaz hasn't stepped up on the defense. And Gunner's not really...
Gunner hasn't had a kill yet in defense.
Yeah, he's not done as much as he did on the attack, so it really does come down to that consistency.
And that's why you see the likes of SSG, because just how consistent the team is. That's what it's all about. Consistency is key, Ollie. We cannot talk about that any more than what we have done in the past. Rampy's straight into Cigar Shop, cooking the nade. Skies is going to be in that window repel. Actually going to swing in through the window. Fultz finds Eska, but Skies is the man you need to watch out for in the prime position. Will find Kool-Aid. Gunner finds Rampy, but Bosco is there with a trade-off. Oh, an impact! And then Blast sprays through the wooden bar, and now SSG have to try and get this diffuser down. Bosco is in a good position to get it down, but he's just maybe waiting for the rest of his team to be in a position to go for the diffuse.
Gunner's taken a bit of damage there as well. We're actually going to see the drop coming from hot and cold. I would have thought that he would stay up on the skylight there and be able to watch in a post. Bosco tries to get the plant down, but the electricity stops him. Fultz, he's already shut down Gunner, and that is all down to Blaz. We commented, Blaz has been having a fairly quiet time of things here. He's got 11 seconds to try and set the world on fire and keep his team well and truly in it. But look at the drones. They know exactly where he's going to be coming from. He might have got one, but there's still a second. Hot and cold. He's going to drop. Blaz, full white flashed. Can't take a challenge if he can't see his opponent. Still searching, looking for answers. I've actually seen this Hot and Cold get himself all the way back onto the roof. Cole's still got Bosco inside of the freezer as well. This is being covered exceptionally by SSG. They're not taking any chances in this post plant. Blaz picks himself up one, confirms it to pad the stat. He's only got 12 seconds. He's got no other choice but to try and counter disable this diffuser. Goes for the bait and switch, but Fultz is on the skylight. Easy as you like there. You've got to hold your nerve. The clock is working down in your favor at that point as an attacker, and Fultz knows it.
Yeah, so easy for Fultz in that position. Just, Cafe, it's one of those, well, obviously the top floor, it's one of those bomb sites where if you can plant the diffuser in a line of sight of that skylight, it's over. It's done. We've seen that. It's one of the worst feelings as a defender, isn't it? Even if you're in a 1 versus 1, you know, let's say it's a 1v5, you killed 4 of them, but if there's one guy on that skylight and the diffuser is in that position, you're not winning it. You can't. It's over.
I mean, unless the guy on skylight plays badly. But you've got to play really badly.
Yeah.
You've got to literally be poking your head over that skylight sill and saying, I'm here, shoot me. Well, SSG, map point here. We'll put them 2-0 up in the series. Parabellum, they haven't done anything since getting on the defense demo. They were
struggling
their own on attack. A 3-3 split. Things were looking pretty good. We were thinking, yeah, we've probably got a bit of a game on our hands here. And we are still waiting for them to pick a round up on the defense. SSG, they've gone from strength to strength. They started off a little bit slow, I think it's fair to say. There were some fairly strange rounds. Parabellum were playing very solo siege, and SSG they weren't getting entirely befuddled by it, but it wasn't coming to them as easy as maybe we would have expected.
And keep in mind that Bosco and Rampy still haven't really done much this game. Look at them still. 2 kills, 3 kills. It's the other 3 who has stepped up massively. It's usually, it's got Rampy, who's that main entry, and Bosco, who is that, that clutch man on the defense, both of which have been struggling in both of their roles. It's been really the other 3 who we know can flex really, really well. Skies, Hot and Cold, and Fultz have a variety of operators. We know Fultz to be in the more ultimate flex, but the other 2, we know that they can play anything as well. So that 3 man has done wonders right now for SSG. It's all clicking for them. One more round for SSG and Cafe. Keep in mind, this is Parabellum's map pick. They need to be doing a lot better than this. I think they maybe got a little bit too confident with how things went against SSG before. SSG, if they get a chance to go back in Cafe against Parabellum, we knew they would not let anything slide.
No, they've definitely come back to not only get the win, but to sort of prove a point, I think. And that point is that they feel like they probably should never have lost the first time they played Parabellum on Cafe. Bosco, bit of aggression there onto Blaz, shuts him down with a swing. Rampy has fallen, so it isn't going to be the pure opening kill, but it's a good response to one. I think for me, somebody that's been doing it all here tonight, demo, at least in this map that we've seen, has been Skies. I just feel like he's always in the right place at the right time. Regularly left in the clutch when SSG were on the defense, and still just doing a lot of that brunt work task when he moves over onto the attack. He's going to look to move through and start to rip open a lot of this floor now. It's kind of personal preference whether you're going to bring a sledge or a book to do this job.
Yeah. False has also impressed me tonight. I think he's been controlled the game really well. I think he's kind of set the tempo. He's the one who's kind of controlled what SSG seems like have been doing a lot of these positions. Hot and cold will catch Gunner. 2 Habana pellets is enough to open up the bakery. However, Monty goes down. False is going to get picked off. How's that happened? I don't know. But still, it's man advantage for SSG as Hot and Cold found another one. Rampy's off the Finca, and all of a sudden, we're seeing the Finca make something of herself.
15 seconds left. There's still a job to do here. There might be an advantage, but it is a narrow one that will diminish by 1. Hot and Cold gets the trade back. He's picked up 3 so far this round.
Whoa!
Iska somehow manages to keep his team in it. Rotates himself down brown stairs. Finds himself 2 crackers to close the round. The time was going to do the rest, realistically. SSG just wasting a little bit too much of it there in that mid-round.
No information on the gold stairs, Ollie, to allow Eska just to run down and go for that swing. How is that being allowed? Sloppy flank watch from SSG has been enough to cost them there. Parabellum still in it. Shouldn't have been in it, let's be honest, but hey, they're still alive and kicking. 2 rounds is all they need to get into OT. It's a lot easier saying that than what I know it would be. But they go upstairs once again. Last time SSG, it was a little bit hit or miss. I wouldn't say SSG looked the strongest in their attacks upstairs. I think they were very reliant on these kind of individual plays, pushing in towards long bar, and I think Sky swinging in through that east balcony window helped them a lot. So there was a few moments there for SSG, but I don't know, it seemed still a little bit messy at times.
SSG have still got that buffer to work with. They've managed to get as far as they have tonight so far without a great deal of input in terms of kills from players like Rampy and Bosco. Not that you would always look to Bosco for the kills, but Rampy definitely. Big talisman player for SSG, and on that entry, very important. Especially when you're going to be bringing the Finca. You know, you need to get a lot of value out of a Finca. You've got the LMG, you've got the Adrenal Surge, 2 nades. If your Finca player isn't having a great time, it's costly not only in the scoreboard, but also in that utility exchange as well.
And we've seen Rampy, I think, struggle, didn't he, against Parabellum the first time. Remember, he's getting picked off windows like right off the rip, and all that utility was still, you know, in his pocket. He just died with it.
The good news for SSG is that as soon as he does come online, it's going to be a lot easier because the rest of the team are playing well enough to get them to this point anyway. He's obviously still contributing in other ways, but as soon as he gets online and starts dialing into those gunfights a little bit more, it's going to become even more scary for Parabellum.
East side take looks to be from SSG. This is their kind of secondary attack that they want to go for. They usually go for this whenever they think that they've struggled a little bit towards the kind of more default piano, which I think if you look at that last round that they had, Ollie, it was, you know, very ropey at times. So to see them now switch things up, I think that's the correct decision. So SSG will primarily try and take in towards reading and start using that skeleton key from below, use the verticality that Buck can bring compared to a sledge where you're kind of stuck in that headlock of you can only go top down, whereas Buck can do both, not only from the top but also from below. Idea is to force everyone out, and then you can easily swing in and try and get a diffuser down. That's the whole goal. But I think a lot of it does rely on information. You need to make sure the drone work is correct, and then you need to combo that information with the utility, which right now we're starting to see flood in for SSG. Rampy tries to get the nade sent up. Doesn't catch anyone with that nade, but still has one more he could go for. We're just waiting for more information. Bosco does find the first pick. 50 seconds. That's a good start for SSG, but I think Rampy, he needs to win this engagement on the white stairs if SSG want to try and go for the swing. They need Rampy right now.
It all really hinges on the player on white stairs. In this instance, it's going to be Rampy, because he needs to be able to cover this hop-in whenever the rappel decides to come through. He's actually going to switch up and get himself onto that white window as we see the Lion Scan cover Bosco as he runs on through. Sky's just waiting on the edge of the Toxic Babe canister for it to dissipate, but his teammates are doing the hard work for him. Bosco came off the plant, picked himself up a kill, and is now ready for more. Skies has since joined, and the plant can now start to go down. Guys, all he's got to do is hold this player inside of Freezer, and Rampy's able to pinch from the opposite side. Penguin from below as Blaz, he's going to have to rotate himself up as well. Penguin's got himself into Pretty ropey spot here. Don't think he knows that there's going to be somebody just the other side of that reinforced panel. Blaz, he's got 1 health. What can he do from here? He's just been called out on a drone as his teammate has fallen. Skies from above. The skeleton key through the floor is going to do the trick. Not only is it for opening angles, it's also for taking out very low defenders. And that's exactly how Skies is going to work it. Great round there from SSG to close things off. Bit of a classic from them. That